Welcome back to Hoosier Homes and Hustles. I'm Stacy.
And I'm Jessica. And today we're diving into something that can feel a little intimidating, especially if you're an out-of-state investor like we are. And that is Sevier County, Tennessee short-term rental permit process. That's a mouthful.
Right? This has become a hot topic being introduced in 2024, and initial inspections are still happening. But don't panic. We've both recently gone through the process, and we feel confident helping you navigate it.
And while the inspection can feel a little scary, we actually appreciate having an extra set of eyes on the property every year.
So true.
It gives us a peace of mind, and ultimately, the safety of our guests is top priority.
Yep. So it's not all bad, right? So let's walk through what the application process actually looks like. You'll find the application link in our show notes, but here's a quick breakdown. You'll apply through the Sevier County Fire Marshal's office, and that link will be below. The permit fee is $250 for property hosting 12 guests or fewer, and an additional $25 per person above that.
And then what you'll need is the basic property details, management information or local contact info, and the number and location of smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, and fire extinguishers. Applications must be submitted before you operate. So once you submit the application, you can schedule your inspection. You don't need to be present for the inspection, which is nice. And don't forget, renewals are due annually based on your original application date.
Right. So get that reminder in your calendar. So in addition to the basics, inspectors are going to be checking for several key safety and compliance items. So we thought we would highlight a few, and obviously the full list is on their website, but they want address numbers. It has to be easy to find your property in the event of emergency, smoke alarms, carbon monoxide detectors, and there's egress requirements, especially in sleeping areas like windows, 2 points of egress.
Additionally, on the checklist, there are fire extinguishers, evacuation maps, including a "you are here" spot.
Right.
And then the chimney and fireplaces. So if you have them, they need to be cleaned and inspected annually.
Yep. And don't forget about the outdoor features. Grills and fire pits. Charcoal grills must be at least 10 feet from the house. I had to have mine moved. Propane grills must be on a non-combustible mat secured to the deck and have a 60-minute shut-off timer.
That is one I was actually worried about, but I was like, we got this. So it's a long list, but it's all about protecting your guests and your investment. So we'll post the full list in our show notes. All right, Stacey, let's get down to it. Tell us about your inspection experience.
Okay, so my inspection flagged one big issue I had actually expected. One of my bedrooms didn't have a proper egress window. It had a window, but it opened to the hallway, not the outside. I knew that might be a problem, and sure enough, the inspector called it out. The fix, I had to add a real egress window, not easy with the way my roof line is, which was probably why they skipped it originally for that reason. But I found an awesome contractor, GSM Building Services, who helped me figure out the most affordable solution. The window's in a weird spot now, but it's safe, and it allowed me to keep that as a bedroom, which was important since it did have an ensuite bath. They handled the whole process, permits, county approval, everything. I didn't have to coordinate any of it, which was a huge relief, especially being from out of state. I also had to swap out a few smoke alarms. One had apparently been removed by a guest. So even if you prep, things like that can change. So I used Smoky Mountain Fire Safety for the alarms and highly recommend them. They made sure everything was compliant. Now, the inspector did say I could keep operating if I locked that room while we were trying to fix it, but I felt that that would be confusing to my guests, so I just chose to shut down the entire time. The whole thing took about 45 days, mostly waiting on the right window. The first one they ordered didn't fit, of course, so that added time. And the install itself only took a couple of days, and the project cost was $6,000. Fun. So if you've got a room without egress, my advice is start early, order the materials, plan for the downtime, and get ahead of it before your renewal inspection hits. So that was my story. Jessica, what about you? Any surprises during your inspection?
So honestly, I was terrified. I didn't know what to expect because I was planning. I was like, well, surely something's going to happen. So the moment I got the inspection via the email, I saw the word fail and my stomach dropped.
Yeah.
But luckily in our case, it wasn't anything major. It was just a fire extinguisher. It wasn't the right size and it wasn't properly tagged with the service date.
Okay.
Rookie mistake. So thankfully, this was a pretty easy fix. I called one of our trusted vendors and they were able to come out same day, swapped it out with the correct size. They actually tagged it with a proper date and provided digital verification that was required by the inspector. So I immediately sent that over as proof, and they, shout out to them, were able to actually give us an approved inspection pretty much within 24 hours, along with our permit number.
Awesome. Great job at being prepared and getting through that process so easily.
So we were nervous going into it, as I mentioned, but ultimately it was not a hard process.
And definitely, I recommend over preparing, make it easy for the inspector to see that everything's in place and working. And I think they pick up on that you're a good property manager.
Right.
Yeah.
So managing this process remotely is doable.
Yep.
But to help, here are a few final tips. Book your inspection as early as possible. There can be rescheduling delays. And keep documentation organized and accessible. And communicate with your cleaner or local contact to help prep the home. Get ahead of any potential issues before the inspection.
And again, don't fear the inspection. Think of it as your yearly safety check-in. Before we wrap up, we wanted to give a quick shout out to a few local vendors who've made a huge difference in prepping us for these inspections and getting our properties to that past inspection rating.
We'll drop the links in the show notes. These are great contacts if you need help getting an inspection ready or also just in general maintenance in the Smokies.
Yep.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. We hope this helped demystify the Sevier County short-term rental process.
If you've got questions, shoot us a DM or email. We love connecting with fellow investors and helping you hustle smarter.
So don't forget to check out the show notes for links, templates, and vendor contacts.
Until next time, thanks for listening to Hoosier Homes and Hustles.
Let's hustle smarter together.